Hi, this is Tisch Aitken, and it is Monday, July 11th, 2022. If you could please subscribe to my channel, I would really appreciate it. This is a really intense week and month for all of us. And currently Mercury, which is the planet of communication, is moving about 2 degrees a day, and it is out of bounds until until July 13th, which means that it exceeds the sun's outer limits and it does not play by the rules, and it feels like Mercury retrograde. And I continue to have computer problems that I am trying to work out. I am working on a breaking computer. It's externally breaking, but it's breaking. My patience is externally and internally breaking. And my new computer will not take the software for the camera. However, this will be resolved because I intend for it to be. And we are all dealing with solutions or trying to come up with solutions to issues in our lives. And it's also very emotionally based because the sun is transiting in the water sign of Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. And that is about nurturing yourself and your family and getting your needs met, and it's a very sensitive water sign. Mercury is transiting in Cancer until July 19th, and again it's out of bounds, so that's expanding the emotions in perspective and in the way we're processing things. And we are approaching a supermoon on July 13th, which is the biggest full moon of the year. It's the closest to the Earth out of all of the full moons, and it's at its perigee, and it's going to be at 21 degrees and 21 minutes of the cardinal Earth sign of Capricorn. And that is a showdown. That is a reality-based moon. Is where you look at what is working very much in the naked light, and the stark naked light with I'm trying to think of when you used to take those standardized tests, and often it was with those lights that would give you anxiety and you just feel very pressured. Well, the pressure is on, and you have to figure out what is working in your life and what is not working. And this full moon sets off the Saturn-Pluto conjunction that occurred at the world axis. It was at 22 degrees of the cardinal Earth sign of Capricorn, and it occurred on January 12th, 2020. And that Saturn-Pluto pairing, they meet up in the sky every 37 years. Saturn is karma, restrictions. It represents people in authority and leadership, and Pluto is death and transformation and people in power. There are certain degrees in astrology that correspond to the world point. They hit people on the world stage or big world events that impact all of us, and they hit every one of us. And in this case, those are the two traditional malefics of the zodiac. And that's really when the pandemic and the height of the epic of Capricorn, that's what really brought, the karma and the restructuring and all the challenges and the foundations of our lives coming down permanently in many cases, and a lot of repair and reconstruction in other cases. And obviously the pandemic had already started before that, but that's really what set the tone to 2020, and that was a very, very heavy cycle felt across the world, and we're still dealing with it. And this week is really a time to reflect on the past few years, because in reality it does not feel like we've recovered from this, and we haven't. If anything, in a lot of cases, people are spiraling out of control. There's a lot more anger. There's a lot more famine. There's a lot more stress. It doesn't feel like summer where we are in the northern hemisphere. Many people say it kind of just feels like a typical time. It's hard to find joy. A lot of people are trying to have a good time. I'm not trying to be fatalistic and negative, but the reality, and this is what this full moon, this super is saying, is what is working in your life and what is not working. And it is conjunct Pluto, the planet of death and transformation. And again, Pluto was one of the key players in 2020 when we had many planets and points transiting in Capricorn, and the eclipses in the Capricorn Cancer axis about again, the structures in our lives and about home and foundation and security, and how that all was taken away, and we're repairing that and rebuilding. And now we're in the chaotic new age of Aquarius, which has been much more about technology and social media. That's what got us through the first couple of years, essentially, and that's what's building new businesses, whether we like it or not. But we're also feeling the alienation, I feel, more than what the Aquarian era is meant to be, because it really is about connection. But it's become so inorganic. In the 60s, yes, there was technological progress in the 60s, and Marshall McLuhan was talking a lot about, I can't even think about it, about the medium is the message and the global village, and yet people were connecting in reality, and it was the youth movement, and there was a lot of upheaval and chaos in the 60s. There was a lot of brilliance, innovation, interest in metaphysics. In the early 90s, when we had a lot of planets transiting in 90s, and subsequently in the later 90s when the outer planets were transiting in the fixed air sign of Aquarius, it wasn't as tumultuous. It was more about a technological revolution. That was the beginning of the internet, when Saturn was at the very first degree of Aquarius, and it went public on the stock market when it was at the final degree of Aquarius in 1994. This round, it is utter chaos, but it's the aftermath of that huge Capricorn blow. And Capricorn is the devil card in astrology. Many say it's the devil, but it's funny, I feel it's also like the judgment card to me. It's the card of reckoning. And yet, working with restrictions and challenges, I think of the devil more like Scorpio, feeling really either, you could feel envious or you could feel really spiteful. But Pluto was part of that Saturn-Pluto alignment, so you could think of it as the devil and the judgment card together, maybe with the moon right now, because things seem so hard to navigate. And on the day of the supermoon, early on July 13th, Venus, the planet of love and beauty, it forms a helpful aspect to Saturn, and that occurs at 12:28 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. And that is bringing structure to what you value, what you love. And then the full moon occurs at 2:38 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time at 21 degrees and 21 minutes of the cardinal earth sign of Capricorn, and again sets off that legendary pairing on January 12th of 2020, and facing what you need to face in terms of what you want to commit to, what you need to work harder on, what you need to let go of, what do you need to release that is not working for you. And on the day of the full moon, Mercury is still out of bounds until July 13th. Of course, we're going to have an erratic Mercury on that date, but it does form a very helpful aspect to Uranus, the planet of brilliance and innovation, and the modern ruler of Aquarius. And that occurs at 8:17 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Finding solutions. Most likely, I will have my software solution solved and teched out by that time. That's what I'm going to put out to the universe. I better. But for all of us, finding solutions in a very difficult time. And after that occurs, Venus, the planet of love, what you value, money, and partnerships, forms a challenging aspect to Neptune, the planet of dreams and imagination, but also confusion and delusion. And that occurs at 1:24 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on July 14th, on Bastille Day. And that is also saying that you can structure what you value with Venus in harmony with Saturn, leading the day of the full moon. You have solutions available through your enterprising search, through connecting with others and thinking outside of the box, not to sound cliche. But there are things that are still very elusive in this time, and it does feel very muddled and hard to escape. And that's Venus squaring Neptune, and many people feeling defeated and depressed. And you can bet that this week is going to be very emotionally intense. The moon rules the sign of Cancer, and this is a super moon in its detriment, where it does not like to be, in Capricorn. Everybody I've ever known that has moon in Capricorn grew up at a young age, became an adult at a young age, whether it was through difficulty with the father or loss, or just a financial situation where they had to work at a young age, or tend to their siblings. It is a difficult moon where the individual grows up, learns how to make things happen for themselves. They have to be their own agent, and it's a time to take agency and make it happen for yourself. And also recognizing that at the end of this month, we're having a very rare alignment with Mars, Uranus, and the North Node on July 31st at 18 degrees of the fixed Earth sign of Taurus. And Taurus is ruled by Venus, what you value, what you love, how you can be creative, how you can earn income. And that's an explosive alignment with Mars and Uranus. That can bring chaos and violence potentially, and upheaval, but it can also bring fated breakthroughs through taking action to be innovative. Mars is in its detriment because it's the ancient ruler of Scorpio, and so Taurus is the opposite sign. Doesn't love being in Taurus. It moves very slowly. It's hardworking, but it kind of just trucks along very, very slowly. It's a lot of traffic on that road, but it keeps going. You've got to keep going. I've got to keep going. And also recognizing that the North Node of Karma is going to be in Taurus until July 12th of 2023. And this really is about growing new things in your life and bringing love and value to the world and to yourself, and being creative and sticking with it and being patient, kind of like Mars and Taurus. Got to keep up. There's a lot of traffic, but you can't get off the highway. You got to keep going, and we all have to keep going. We have to figure out if there is an exit and we need to take it. Well, you know, Saturn, Pluto, that alignment. What do you need to release to transcend? And I wish you a lot of luck this week, because I think we're all going to need it to some level. All right, take care, and thank you.